it's like, oh, here we go, someone else bringing up because it's because of their religion,
Well, I would
and
say to Kim Davis, if I were in front of her right now, I would say, "Well, your hair is against my religion." But
exactly.
Come on, girl. You better catch a bottle of Frizzies.
but that's the problem. She's so anti-gay that no one will
She
do
makes
her
like
hair.
$7. And she's like,
I mean,
Yes.
but I mean,
"Thousand
I
dollars
mean,
here,
but
go get it
she
together."
does. I mean, she does live in Kentucky. No
Exactly.
offense to anyone who lives in Kentucky, okay?
But you know what else
But
is? I know she
What
does.
what upsets me though is I don't understand how somebody can morally say I don't wish the well-being of everybody. You know what I mean? I don't get that.
Because she's psychotic and she
I just
believes.
don't understand. I don't.
she's a heartless bitch.
I
There you
don't
go.
get it.
It's not even that. She probably look. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. She's probably like a really religious person, and she tries to be pious, even though she's been divorced twice and married to the same guy twice, and been divorced 4 times total. Whatever. Anyway, whatever. I'm sure she has some good qualities somewhere down deep inside her bushy hair. But I think honestly, she actually believes. I mean, I don't think it. I know she believes that what she's doing is quote unquote God's work. So when you are so religious, and this is why I'm not religious at all, as I've mentioned, this is why I have a problem with some people who are really religious like this, evangelicals like this, because they push aside reason for religion. And in my opinion, religion is not reasonable, but that's just my opinion. If you want to believe in a religion, that's fine. If you take solace in it and it gives you comfort, or if you want to live your life according to its code, whatever, fine. But to actually believe everything that your pastor tells you or the Bible tells you or whatever to the literal word of what it says, and say, well, God says this to me no matter what. You can say God says anything you want to you. God told me, whatever. I mean, you can say whatever the fuck you want. So I think when people pushed over the line from reason to nutso, like this crazy woman, I think there's an issue. And so that's why, and she's in a position of power. So if someone is that religious, I don't think they should be able to work for a government agency because they're unable to do their job. That's what I think.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and clearly they're working in misery because I'm sure she's not the only one.
No, I'm sure she's. Well, no, I'm sure she's not the only one. No.
Did God tell her to go out and wear that god awful long sleeve shirt with that lime green toothpaste looking shirt that she has on over it? Did God tell her to do that?
I think
'Cause she looks
so.
a fucking mess.
I think so.
She looks a little slow too.
She does look a little slow. The other thing before we move on is that's really sad and ironic is that to me it's sad, is that she makes $85,000 a year in Kentucky, which is a lot of money.
A lot of
in
money
Kentucky.
in Kentucky. That's a lot of fried chicken.
Yes, and she makes $85,000 a year. Yet the median income in her county is $13,500 a year.
Wow.
And so
a lot of fried chicken. That's my
I'm just
spam.
I'm just saying it just seems like really that doesn't seem right. Anyway, okay, so what about the death penalty? I want to talk about the death penalty, and the reason I do is because people, gay, straight, whatever, have different opinions on this. But I think the death penalty, you're either for it and you think, okay, someone murders someone, eye for an eye, whatever, they should be murdered. And other people feel that it's wrong to kill people, and it's only up to God if you believe in God to do that, or if you don't believe in God, it's not a human's right to do that. So, what do you guys think about the death penalty?
I used to be for it. But in some ways, I'm kind of against it. I'm only against it because, well, let me explain myself, and then we'll come to a conclusion there.
Okay.
I used to be for it. I used to be like, if you kill somebody and they give you the death penalty, then sorry. But then now my thing is that I feel like maybe as I've gotten older over time, I feel like when you get the death penalty, I kind of feel like that's like the easy way out.
Mm-hmm. Rather than having to live in prison or something.
Exactly. To me, I would have much more satisfaction knowing that you're sitting in prison for the rest of your life because I want you to think about what the fuck you did. When you wake up every day, I want you to know why you're in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel like that's the only reason that I'm somewhat against it, I guess. But that's just my thing. Because I'm like, when you wake up every morning in that 12 by 12 jail cell, sleeping on that, metal frame mattress. I want when every fucking morning when you get up, I want you to wake up and I want you to know why you're in there.
I agree with you for the most part. I think I used to, when I was younger, I used to think the death penalty was just or whatever. But as I've gotten older, I've actually changed my mind. And the reason is because I think that there's only one instance in which the death penalty should ever be utilized. And that is when you have irrefutable evidence that the person who did the crime did it and that there's no question at all. Like like you have a video of them committing the murder or I don't know, whatever. There's irrefutable evidence that this person killed this person or whatever. And in that instance, if the death penalty is merited, okay. But most of the time, most people on death row are there for circumstantial evidence or whatever, and you never know. And there's all these people getting off death row now because of DNA that has cleared them from being the perpetrator or whatever. So I don't. That's why I'm against the death penalty, because I don't think you can ever, unless you absolutely know without a doubt that someone murdered someone else, that I don't think it's right. So what do you think, Christian?
Well, not to mention half of the people that are on death row that have murdered people are probably sociopathic. So I think, Jason, you kind of want them to live in their own misery, but a lot of times they'll sit there and tell you, if it happened again, I'd kill him again. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I'm not educated as much as I should be on this topic, but as you're explaining it a little bit, Donovan, I definitely agree, because a lot of times people do go away for mistrial or without a reasonable doubt or whatever it may be. But I agree, unless it's 100%. And nowadays, we're running out of room in these jails.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Did you know that the majority now in this country of prison systems are run by private entities and not the government? Yeah. And as a result of that, their businesses and the states and everybody else gets a big chunk of the money. And so they're not run by the government; they're run by the states, and that's not a good thing. Not the states, I mean by private companies.
Right.
So yeah. So
the judicial system is also kind of fucked up too.
Well, that's why I just want to.
It's like stop giving people 3-year sentences for shoplifting. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Spend 3 years in prison for taking a stick of gum.
That's what I'm saying. There's an incentive. There's an incentive now for people to be put into prison because people profit from it. Is what I'm saying. That's exactly right. And so there's more of an incentive. And actually, there have been judges who have had investments in these private companies, these prisons, whom they send people to the prisons that they invest in so they can make more money. And this is found out later after the fact often, but they still stay in prison. So I mean, this is why it's wrong. I think it's just a wrong thing.
I believe that because a family member of mine was arrested for driving on a suspended license, which he says that he didn't know anything about it because the state didn't notify him or anything of that case or whatever.
It didn't have an expiration date on his license?
But he received a speeding ticket. And so I guess he didn't pay it, but he said the state was supposed to notify him to give him a certain date to pay, and they never notify him, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
So he ended up getting arrested for a traffic stop. He spent a week in jail over a traffic violation.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I mean, like stuff like that is just like, come on, man, really you have to spend a week in jail for a traffic violation?
No, and people are treated differently, based on race and religion and culture and color and everything else.
That's true. But it's just like, but now we're, since we're talking about it, I was like, it's little stuff like that because at the end of the day, it's all a money thing.
Unfortunately.
So, it's all about trying to pay as much money as you possibly can for your freedom and, and throwing these people in here for these, petty little crimes. I mean,
right.
It's just absurd to me.
What about euthanasia? You guys know what euthanasia is?
Yeah, euthanasia. No, it's murder with gas.
No, it's not murder with gas. I'm not trying to say that because I'm like, oh, do you know what euthanasia is? I'm just saying because I didn't know, because not everybody knows what the word euthanasia means. So euthanasia is when someone who's terminally ill is allowed to end their own life with assisted suicide.
Oh.
So, like when your dog, for example, is dying and he's ill and he's not going to recover, you euthanize him. So that's what euthanasia is. So the question is should euthanasia be legal throughout the country? In some states it's legal, in most states it's not. Or should it not be legal? What the fuck is going on? Somebody is like banging against the wall.
What's the difference between that and if somebody is on life support and like pulling the plug on life support?
Well, the difference is if they're awake. First of all, typically they're awake and they're telling you they want you to pull the plug themselves. It's not like you have to make the decision for them. That's the difference. So, do you think that that's acceptable or unacceptable practice?
I think that if that's what you want to do and you're a terminally ill person, I think that's fair.
What about you, Jason?
I agree. If it's agreed upon and, family members have agreed to come to this conclusion, and, if they don't want to see their, family member, suffering and, that type of thing, then.
Well, it's really more the person's. This is really more about the person's decision.
Oh, well, if that's something they want to do, and clearly I'm sure they've thought it through.
Let me put it this way to you, though.
I would say, yeah.
Let me couch it this way. Let's say both of you were terminally ill,
Mm-hmm.
and you were dying of cancer, and you were in severe pain, and the morphine wasn't working anymore. Nothing was working, and there was no doubt that you were going to die. You were terminal. Would you, at that point, let's say you've been writhing in pain for months, and you were horrible, would you want someone to assist you in dying or not at that point?
If that is what I personally wanted to do and my other person complied, absolutely.
Okay. And what about you, Jason?
I agree as well.
Okay. Me too. That was easy. Okay. So
back to this Kim
yeah,
Davis
go ahead.
situation before
Kim
Davis,
yeah.
So I was watching the clip a little bit earlier, and when she was free from jail, they were playing Eye of the Tiger. As she was walking on stage. I'm like, bitch, you only in jail for a day. Like, why are you walking out as if you've been in jail for like 17 years or something?
Because it's the moral of it, and her followers feel like she is,
vindicated.
Thank you.
Yes, and she's not. She's a fucking idiot.
She's not. I don't want to pay any more attention to her.
No, she's just a fucking moron. The people who are following her and look up to her, people like Mike Huckabee, who were there by her side, who's a fucking senator or whatever the fuck he is, and he's running for president on the Republican moron side.
Yes.
She people who follow her and him and people like that are just sheep. I'm sorry, and they really have no concept of what is fair or what is equal. All they give a fuck about is what their racist little bigoted motherfucking hearts say. That's it. They don't give a fuck about what's right.
I don't understand why they're so passionate about this.
Because
I don't understand why people are so passionate about something that has nothing to do.
I'll tell you why. Because this country. The country's political system has taken on gay rights. The left, the Democratic side or whatever, has taken it on as a pro-gay rights issue. The right is taking it on as a anti-gay rights issue, and it has polarized this country against gay people and have made gay people the enemy. And since the 60s, since the 70s, and that time during Anita Bryant and all that kind of stuff, I don't even know who she was. But anyway, during this whole time period, we were made to be evil, pedophiles and horrible people who didn't have any morals and all this other stuff and made out to be what everybody says we were at the time, and disgusting sexual perverts and deviants. And so what's the word I'm looking for? The religious right took that cause and ran with it, and because of Anita Bryant, ran with it and made us the scapegoats for all of the fucking shit they hate in this country about what's wrong with the world, and made us their enemy. And so ever since then, it has polarized both parties, and now both parties have either pro-gay or negative gay thoughts. And these people who are following Kim Davis are the fucking right-wing evangelical nutbags, the right-wing Republican morons. That is why they are so passionate about it, because to them, we are the enemy. We're evil. We're Satan. God hates us. God's against us because the Bible says X, Y, and Z about being gay.
Lies. That's a lie.
That's why. So anyway, sorry, but they pissed me off. Anyway, okay, so what about affirmative action?
We're going. You think this is so funny? Keep going.
I do. Go on.
Affirmative action, I'm okay with it.
Okay. I guess my question is, do you think that affirmative action is still necessary in the United States?
Yes.
Yes. And why do you think that?
Do I really have to answer this?
Well, don't make it a long old diatribe. Just make it like about a 2-3 minute thing.
But see, if I answer this, it's gonna be long. So
Just give me a clip, like say because we still need it, or because, what are you thinking?